Okay, welcome dear students. Happy to be with you again, discussing important topic, which is the coping with the stress, how to cope, how to adapt, how to adjust, and the mental health problems. So we talked in the last lecture about the stress and the effect of the stress. What is the stress, effect of the stress, and stress on the healthcare professional? Now, what is the coping and what are the mental health problems? So outcomes, we will try to identify psychological problem often associated with chronic illness. So what are the psychological problems usually associated with the chronic illness? Try to discuss them briefly. Psychological problems. Different strategy for coping, we will discuss them. How many strategies we have. Patient approach to cope with diagnosis and treatment of chronic or potentially life-threatening condition. So patient's approach. Discuss the psychological and social impact of difficulty with coping. If there is a difficulty with coping, what will happen? So recognize barrier to identify psychological difficulties in patient. So let us start with the session. What is coping? And what do patients have to cope with? So plan our plan. What's coping? Coping style and emotional response to chronic illness. So three main parts. Apart. Coping chair, coping styles, emotional response to chronic. Whenever there is a chronic illness, what are the emotional response of the patient to this? What could happen? And how to treat them briefly. So let us start with the first part, which is what is coping. So coping is a way to prevent, delay, avoid, or manage stress. So you have a stress, whatever you are doing to deal with the stress is called coping. To prevent the occurrence of the stress if you can, to delay its occurrence, to avoid, to run from other side, to manage, or whenever it happens, how to deal with it, to manage. So all these ways, they are called coping. Coping mechanisms, categories, be aware about the term, categories or mechanisms. Anything you are doing, it will fall under one of the following these strategies or categories. Coping mechanism, either you will change the source of the stress, you will try to change the source of the stress, yani the stress itself. Stress itself, I will change. My economic state, parent not talking with me, I am ill, what to deal with the illness, what to deal with the parent, what to deal with the friend, what is the economic state, what to deal with the exam, the source itself. This is the first category. Or I will change the view of the situation, how I am looking to this problem, to do the exam. So either the source itself, I will try to change it, or my view to interpret the situation, or at least I will tolerate it. I cannot deal anything with the source. I cannot change my view, but I should tolerate the effect of the stressor until it passes or become less troublesome. So I source, view, or tolerate it. These are the coping mechanism categories. همي categories whatever you are doing كيف بن إكجوا category هذا. يعني وقت بيجين coping كمان شيء إكجوا category هذا. And the source category itself يشيش ويأجبن بيجما بابوي باجبي كم شول كم بارهينم كم tell to source I will change the source, or I can change the source. I will change my view toward the stressor. Exam chiao, problem chiao, not talking with me chiao, death chiao, disease chiao, or I will try to tolerate. يعني stressor حتى to tolerate كم حتى tolerate that stress as if something in burden on me. How to tolerate it كم مثلا relaxation technique كم check رياضة كم. So transactional model, I will remind you remind you about the Lazarus and Folkman transactional model of the stress. By the way, it's a part of the coping chicken. So whenever there is a stress, we say you will appraise the stressor. What is this event? Stressor, primary appraisal. And you will appraise yourself. What's my resources or abilities to cope? So this will determine the stressor, whether it is severe or not, stressful or not. Primary appraisal and secondary appraisal. So again, here, this is the look to the stimulus event, primary appraisal. Primary appraisal, the individual determine the threat to his or her well-being. For example, the individual may use denial to reduce the reality, whether it is affect my well-being or not. So whether it is challenging, or it is threatening, or it is harmless. So if the situation is harmless, so it will be at that time primary appraisal will be not stress. If it is threatening or if it is dangerous, so secondary appraisal, whether determine the coping resource. Can I deal with it? Is it available, my resources? If yes, I can deal with it adequately, so no stress. Coping mechanisms are thought to be inadequate, so there will be stress. What to do to cope with? If you look to the patient now, you will be a doctor. Your patient, remember that the patient have to cope with what? First, some factor related to the illness itself, illness related. Your patient should adapt or cope with the diagnosis, emotional response, the shock and anxiety, depression, denial for CA, anger, fear. So the new, especially chronic diseases. Physical impact, they should adapt to the pain, unlimited mobility, other symptoms, nausea, headache. Treatment, you give treatment. Anxiety about taking, they should cope with the treatment. And because they usually, any person dislike to take the medicines. So anxiety, discomfort, impact on the body may be causing some changes in the body image, obesity, swelling, puffiness, or the opposite. Hospitalization, the impact, cope with the illness related. Sometimes you need to admit the patient to the hospital. That patient should adapt to the new loss of autonomy, privacy, status, become admitted. Possible removal from the usual social support. So look, illness related, diagnosis, physical impact, treatment, hospitalization, adjustment, illness related, adjustment to the new name, disease, to the change of the identity, stigma of the disease, chronic nature of the illness. So chronic maybe change may be indefinite. Terminal illness, especially acknowledgement of or mortality, CA. So adjustment, how to adjust. So look to all these. The patient need to adjust the diagnosis to the physical impact, to the treatment receiving, to maybe hospitalization, adjustment to the new biography, identity, nature of the illness, socioeconomic impact, financial problem if work affected. Which usually cannot work, especially nowadays our society. Social problem, housing, who will take care of the home, female especially, who will take cook, who will take care of the children, childcare, relationship, family, friends, colleague till the end. So look, the patient should couple all of these, your patient, and illness related or related to the illness. So different combination of issues for different patients, but all share need for adjustment, and your patient need to cope for all of these. The patient need to cope with all of these. Other life events, not just the illness-related factor. Other life, your patient may have family problems. Besides the illness, bereavement, divorce, marriage, newly married, family health, other family member, pregnancy, family unemployment, personal factor maybe, imprisonment, personal achievement, can't achieve anything, change in the school, residency, sexual difficulty in the family, change in the habits, holidays, all these. So other life events the patient should be able to cope with, not just life. يعني بلكي نساخت عندها مشكلة دش يا ابني بدي خطوة كبيرة. You are treating a human being, not a disease. And by the way, human being. فهذا factor يعني هذا دفتر newly divorced أو pregnant يعني children أو unemployed أو change in the residency أو workplace مثلا ده احتمال dismissal, retirement يعني مشكلات ثانيه job changes, change of responsibility, condition, financial problem. Nowadays unfortunately too much burden. So your patient should adapt, cope with the illness related factor, other life events. هميس your patient, so they should cope. They should cope. فعلى الأقل أسند the coping mechanism with simple exam. In short case or simple case, we can advise, counsel the patient. هكا as coping style بيجي كتشندن. هكا as بيجي think of stressful crisis that happened to you in the last year. تشتكي stressful متشابهة. توزر تخبك. خدينا كتكمل نصابو defect شابو إكبو كورونا deteriorated too much, death from the corona of relative, socio-economic يعني difficulties شابون, problem with a friend, colleague, sister, failure in subjects يعني كتشبوا last year. Any one of you, how you did handle it? تشكر هل إيش بسيار كم last year what happened, stressful events, stressful crisis, and how you handle it, what you did. هكذا من الطلبة بيجي مثلا احتمال failure in subject, not understanding well, problem with the colleagues بيد, socio-economic state بيد, قضية relationship problems بيد, كاتش بيد, and health problem ومالو كورونا وديثو. سو هذا تشكر. هاي كان ساكينة إيش ما بتشتهد كريم. Discuss feeling with a friend ما يقولتي ما خفتي upset عصبيهم. try الدعاء ونفيجو يا ربي وأبدي. try to see positive side يعني دي الله كي شو دوري دوي بيجتن الله بلدي بترخينم. try to avoid هما خو مجيل كبحثي دينا كبختي خده. إيش شو بلكي drinking الكحول بلكي دراج جالك خار زاد خار. إيش بلكي ترانات كرن نكتب موضوع كده. Group like the worker, what you will do something like that. You will talk, or you can irritable, or you pray, or you try to look to the positive, or you try to avoid and try too much eating, drinking, unhuman. But others, I remember مثلا failure on subject, يعني cat. And the beginner, يعني failure on subject, ما ذاك cat here. They try to find information to help me deal with the problem. يعني to بيجي من شبكة. Talk to a friend, relative, or professional to get advice on handling the problem. يعني الانفورميشن الجديد انترنتي كتابك friend how to handle how to deal which اسكتم to بيجي بتشبي تشوت خان plan جرى شو نوع كذا في مادة plan كده how to deal with it. Put aside other activities to concentrate on dealing with the problem. أميت تشتري ده تراحكي how to deal with the problem. شو مدرسة وخاندنا. Took some action to improve. جدول بتر وقت ده بتر تي في موبايل هاي لاينات بتر discuss وده. فعندك دي weekend يعني دي بتر كاتب مادة failed will try to look for information, ask the people to put up a plan, to put other activities aside to do something to improve the يعني study. فعادي إيش واتشتاكي. إيك بلوه إيك شيء ريدة. هكذا بيجنا what's the difference between the two groups أمشتكي. يعني ده تشتكي كيف وما تساقط بدي كأجري هذا emotional بدي عصبي بدي كاتهامي كي تتركي ده عصب صيت وبيجي سيجت فلان أبونه ده الدعاء كي ده ساكت هذا تشتكي كيف ده مضي هذا تشتكي emotional بحثنا كان أو avoid هذا تشتكي كي عند الجدول كده ف look to these two categories two groups here this was the base of coping styles ده الكتم هذا أبي جروب يقام بلو بجنبه you just try to look to يعني focus on your emotion. أنت بتشكل باري خوصفكي. الفيري try to focus on the problem itself and what to deal with it in the future. فعندك الفيري بجني problem focus عندك بجني emotional in yourself. يعني وقت تبغى حوالك يا خطاب في عصبي بحسنات كي ترانات كي دعوات كي يلا ده بترخينم. أبد بجنبه emotional. فأبده همي how you handle any situation stressful situation the response have been collected. همياتنا جمع كلام بين two styles of coping. خدوا تشبكي و any problem two styles. to the emotional focus يعني بس باري خص بكي to the problem try to focus on the problem. Which is better if I ask you? Of course, all of you will say problem focused يعني جالب أشتري to change يعني it is common sense to say yes you should to focus but sometimes it is difficult مثلا دافع ما the problem focus شكل مجبوري بينوش focus إيك بو diabetes to cannot get rid from diabetes فت مجبوري بemotional focus و to control the diabetes شيء بدي بتا problem focus so it is difficult to control the problem or inevitable to control or can't control emotional وهندك بيك هندجا to control the problem to محتاج emotional focus مثلا حتى تدرجة خو بلنكي بخيني مع دل matter of weeks months to the emotional focus يجيني هندجا combination بين both. فاللازاروس believe that two general types of coping effort can be distinguished. Two. I'm going to for any stress, two general styles. Coping styles. Two, according to Lazarus. It could be the problem focused coping. Lazarus term for the cognitive strategy of squarely facing one's trouble. How to face your trouble directly. شوف problem ديني how to face it. Trying to solve them. دي تشوى حلقة. مش problem focused coping, which is the best, which is the most important, which is the must. بس كما قلت sometimes it's difficult and need a time to have emotional focusing on myself. Emotional focus coping is Lazarus' term for responding to stress in an emotional manner, especially using defensive appraisal. يعني defensive mechanism or mechanisms. صرخوش يشول كم حتى the problem حل bit on pass. Problem focus coping target the cause of the stress in practical ways, with tackles the problem, stressful situation that causing stress, consequently directly reduce the stress. يعني تو حلكي سنة امتحانة تبخيني هذا تاجي أجبي ديكو باب قال ناوي تشي قال باوي economic شولكي باربيني لف أفير قضية حلكي problem any problem focus to remove or reduce the cause of the stressor. عندك ريكت وأنا شو problem solving كده solve the problem مش problem solving. It's one kind of the problem focusing coping styles. Time management, by the way, time management is one of the problem focus coping. يعني وقت انك تدخيني تسكجول time وقت انك time habit and time management يعني تجدولي الداني for any وقت problem عم study it's a kind of the problem focus يعني تو اهتمام عندي. Time management social support يعني what to do his social support to ask counseling how to do with my problem يعني to experience our game بجني هذا هسه تقريبا يشتغل من of course problem solving و time management و social support not to just talk ventilate لا أو يبقى emotional focus to ask the advices counseling experiences from the about what to do with this problem. To design problem solving is simply you will identify your problem, define the problem. What is the problem? As نظام امتحان مادة متكرنة سابق والستريس بمجالك ستريس وقت امتحاني. Stressful جالك. إيه analyze why it's happening, which happening. شو كواس رجعنا ناخينم، شو كواس جدولنا دانم، شو كواس وقتنا دانم، شو كنت attend the lecture بسيارة كسينا كم. So should plan what to do plan. So analyze plan what I should do. So I should schedule time management, schedule daily study. Implement تطبيقي نبي أول أسبوع أول تطبيقي بلا 70% 80% success be and you will evaluate whether a plan أو تدان في time وقتها هذا بيجي نبي problem solving process problem solving so you will define you will analyze you will develop a plan you will implement you will evaluate and return back again. So problem solving process is the main part of the problem focused coping problem solving process. Brainstorming in the job قال هذا discussing what to do which mean رأيه برجين بيك but discussing about brainstorming too much ideas about هذه كده تشتكي بيش تازدنجي خو ريكورد كم بيش الليكتشر يا موبايل مدتين مدام بيش تاز يوتيوب فايدة كم flying time starting from this brainstorming again one of the problem solving but discussing with the people sharing the same problem student حوالي تخو بحسب كفرين آخر بيجي أم شبكين بوتشي أم ناخين حتى فترة امتحان الشيء محاضرة بين السنة و try to study hard و running why so try to discuss this with بيجي brainstorming. Time management is one of the problem focus coping time priorities your health to study tasks are activities that are judged or more important than other priorities. Time management or control of your day, control of your day. So time management again one of the problem focused strategy. This is the first important part, problem focused coping. But emotion focused coping emotion focused coping involve trying to reduce the negative emotional response associated with the stress. يعني أو negative تراجع على الأقل أو شيء مهمة. We said that we need a time sometimes to solve the problem or sometimes they are uncontrollable يعني. So you need emotional أو embarrassment fear أو إحراج من المادة وترصد زحمة وناناجع بيجي ولي frustration. It may be the only realistic option when the source of the stress is outside the person's control. Outside my what I will do. So the emotional مجبوري بيجي مثلا شو دراك therapy can be seen as an emotion في وقت دراك كديناكي to control the sadness and anxiety, depression or sleep. It's one of the emotion focus coping. But هشتا other emotion focus coping أبنا distraction مثلا yourself busy your mind, emotional disclosure when تختار expressing emotion, prayer and spirituality اللي دعاك إن بيش أبا emotional focus طبعا عندك especially those with with religious meditation, mindfulness, تأمل وتخيل, eating more comfort يعني eating more خمجيل كتبه عندك كان comfort food emotional journalizing gratitude diaries ملاحظات تويتر journal medicine cognitively appraisal عندك جسرزت وشو الكات وجس وكيم بين بوش خزيلك نبو عام نبو مشكلة هم عام generally نبو focus هكا focus تسا problem كير cognitively appraisal أو دبيتا problem focus coping بس هكا معام بيت أسخو زيلك بيت أسخو هزبي بيت أبشام supporting negative thought suppressing or stopping the negative thought بس أبد شو إذا ممتين as نشم as أبد become عام generally بيجنا emotional focus. So look to these, all these are regarded as emotional focus. طبعا they are helpful and non-helpful and sometimes necessary now helpful with the problem focus بيجنا emotional focus coping. عندك شوارع كده بنبتر emotional focus coping أنا هكا directed toward the problem دي بتا problem focus coping يعني مشتركا يعني عندي to optimism بي باشتر بي thinking positively avoid negative thoughts ما فايدة تدايا أنا شيء مزحمة توزع شيء نبي ده روصة بيد خراب تبي صوت تبنفيت بس تدي باري خو جراكي so be optimistic good when trying to handle stress more effectively positive mood يعني يجب بما شيء مش يعني تاني وزن باشتر بي optimism شيء باشتر ليه etc. At least it will lead to positive mood. Optimism, positive thinking. Into positive mood improve your ability to process information more efficiently. يعني دي مرتاح طبعا دي باشترخيني makes us more altruistic and give us high self-esteem. Optimistic attitude is superior to pessimistic one. It can give us a sense that we are controlling our environment. فأنا أقول لك ما تشوف الظروف دكتور optimistic ما تشوف positive thinking ما تشوف باش negative. So what will be the opposite benefit? Pessimistic but negative thought. What will happen? Just you will raise the burden on yourself. You will become more depressed, more sad, more anxious, more frustrated, and nothing will be changed. بس هكا to at least optimistic be because still you are alive, you have a cognition, you can deal for your study, for your college, for your relationship with the family, at least friends, at least ever. فدي be a positive process information يعني information processing دي باشتر be more efficient and so be optimistic, be positive. Cognitively structuring and positive self. Cognitively structuring modify the thought and ideas and belief that maintain an individual problems. يعني restructuring ده صحكي هكذا عام بعضي أثبت زرت خواه بيت أسبيرناين فاشلم تشينا بيت هذا عام فيدفا بدل كان بجنا بيه cognitive restructuring أن أف بلانا تداناي هندا جابت بيت problem focus strategy هندا جابت بيت emotional هكذا you directly focus on the problem in the cognitive restructuring ده بيت problem focus step back away يعني restructure your thoughts أبيت تداناي on self-talk also business self-statement أو وقت أمجال خطابي most of the time you are talking to other self طبعا most of the time أمهمي ده ما الخطاب جال خطابي محاولة كأو self-statement self-talk أو شيء أو soundless mental speech soundless mental speech we use when we think out about something plan solve a problem is often very helpful هكذا about the solve a problem بي أبدا شيء البروبلم دشتا problem focus coping ده Again, I'm generally beaten just to decrease the effect of emotional focus coping ده business sound mental بيجي اخوات شيء مش يعني تدماغ خدا وجان ديتا جورين يعني positive يعني positive او تقول خطاوي positive self illusion ما هي ترم كينيا يعني mental health professional believe that seeing reality as accurately as possible was the best. Recently thought research found increasing evidence that maintaining some positive illusion يعني شتي حيلك about oneself and the world is healthy يعني تبيجي اش اوائل ما اش جزيلك رقم ايك مش خلاص يلك ترم مش خراب يستر خراب يترم maybe هذا illusion a positive illusion بس انا جا بيجي اخو شو بيجي أخو تشرينا positive self illusion حنا جواباشة شو رزيرك ترم تيجي ترم جانا صانا ترم شخصية ترم كسادي ترم happy people يعني happy people found that falsely high opinion of themselves هذا كتب شيء falsely شيء high opinion about themselves بلا بيشك هبي نبي ده grandiosity و increase self esteem مش حد يقول بس بيشك بلا give self-serving explanation for event and have exaggerated beliefs about their ability and controlling the world around them الشيء مش يونتين أف كلمة باشترن بلا 100% not true بيجي positive self illusion self efficacy belief in your abilities يعني can master a situation and produce positive outcome I can why not self efficacy should get هو كلمة بكاربينة assertive behavior aspect of social relationship a relationship between assertive can affect coping is how we deal with the conflict in this relationship assertive يعني صارم حازم به whenever you dislike something say no I can't مثلا invite you I can't I don't have the time sorry I am so assertive يعني they are telling what they feel or they think it is true نا ولا شرمة عيدة بانشم فعندك تين aggressive always they are against us عندك شيء manipulative يعني عندك passive عندك aggressive passive هم كيف هو ديشي تاد دعويش تسأل دانش تقولي همين نبدل يخش شر مرض بيجي passive behavior منافد باك aggressive همين قال عكسي ولا نايم بس ده shoot themselves passive aggressive بيجي manipulative assertive personality behavior they do and decide what they think it is right or they think it is right so it is the best kind to be assertive يعني شد مقتنع شو بيجي أنا والسوسايتي unfortunately قال لك passive يعني احتمال هذا بيجي ميفون بين بلا بين شرمة بيجي نمكن وقت امتحانا شينا سفري أنا شو بيجي نايم معزوماتي هم تشبي بلا بكيف هو شرمة دي عاجز من اف passive personality أنا باشه aggressive شيء بعكسي وبكي to show myself أنا وقتين دي أنا بس just to show yourself assertive is the best social support is very important you need like a social support to focus your problem أو the part of the problem focus coping if the social support just to ventilate just to emotional أو the emotional focus يعني بعض الصحبات so social support feedback from the other it's one loved and cared for esteemed and valued and one of the good and very important coping style فأول احتمال بتا problem focus بتا emotional focus هذا summary of the coping style I can be a summary function of the coping and coping style ما كانت any coping style شو ما هي emotional change the emotion أو شو مثلا behavior مثلا وقت ما قلت talking to the friend exercise to become find distraction خد تشتكي في مجلك أبد بيجنا في emotional focus أنشي cognitive عندك cognitive her emotional شو how you think about situation مثلا denial دي أما أصلا شنينا مش لنا مازنا positive aspect of the problem شو positive كما قلت لك second trial باش تقول I will try to study more as بترخين من وقت I will control the subject more يشوف second trial بس يصح كتب positive aspect it's a reality again it's a reality يعني مثلا هيك have to give up a job you don't like give up a job تبي دي بلكي شو لك باشتر وخوشتر بينم يعني او مثلا شو لي هات داري خستن اني لا فكري ان شو دسنا ما دي بلكي شو لك باشتر وتشتر شو هذا نيجاتيف اسبكت شو اللي تشوف في نقطه عندك مرتعب this is a cognitive approach yes you are right عندك شو بدك دلي تنابو so look to other aspect فبيجنا في emotional focus وما دي هاي ما قلت problem focus change the problem on your resources يعني كاشيان تخو وسرشولك how to cope with the feeling of مثلا هيك فوبيا هي from closed space نشط راديو ثيرابي وليت أنشطة MRI problem focus أنا بشوف علاج خوك شو جنا ترسي reduce demand of the story يعني ده محتاجي أبي closed space نبي يكون تبيه فوبيا closed space هناك فوبيا يجي تصل جالك عدد طين نشر أشياء جديدة نشطة فدي تشوف علاج خوك أنا problem focus ده and exposure to them to deal with it يعني expand your resource قصدي ما بيجي مثلا if mobility a problem نشط بيتو بشيء physiotherapy كده هذا problem focused stroke نشط بيتو بشيء physiotherapy هذا problem focused and motorized wheelchair motorized هذا problem focused يكيبوا stroke يكيبوا car accident or handicap فهذا بيجي problem so summary emotional focus problem focus emotional focus they are the two main coping style ways to aid coping يعني اف coping كتما ام بدنا تشتدي بيجن افا بيجن ways to aid coping خصوصا to our patient. So our patient we want to increase their coping mechanisms. مثلا بيجن increase mobilize social support افا patient كتما. Some patient may have impoverished social network, elderly مثلا بمحاولة كينها تشوفي مالفيريكا social support. Help patient recognize and mobilize support يعني support كيف شيء هاري بك suggest formal source for support سندجة منظمات يعني منظمات social services community resources hospital visitor hospitals clinics يعني religious man other religious and charitable organization فالفيري social support بكوش patient especially elderly جالكم مهمة أبا aid the coping to your patient. Increase personal control مثلا عندي personal control ده coping عندي patient ده pain management باشتر بيتشتري self management management program self management program شو مثلا diabetes دي كان يخوت وكان يناخوت أبى self management كورسك diabetes كان يدي injection داني كان يدي food ورجلي بيجني type 1 diabetes أبى بيجني dose adjustment for normal eating بيجني دافن أبى دوز adjustment for أبى بوا self management course في تنابه كنا بوا diabetes وكان يدي injection داني وكان يدي زادي خود ودي كان خود training so self management program pain management whatever give patient choices to choose how many options of the treatments taking cognitive control also of the patient مثلا multiple sclerosis society مثلا أو shrinking the monster booklet هاينا بكريه أبا shrinking the monster booklet to check multiple sclerosis they to show how you to show support yourself in multiple sclerosis or any other disorder supporting them بدنا فهذا increase personal control social support يا patient تأخذ ذاك يعني تبشي personal control يبينك يمكن هكذا تبشي كورس كيبوه كي self management program patient to my choices which is the easier to use and she cognitive control مثلا booklet have answer how to deal with their disorder. Prepare for the stressful events شوية مثلا reduce ambiguity and uncertainty مثلا preparation for surgery preparation of the patient surgery عندي تو ambiguity نصان دي تشيكا دي تشان مينيتن دي تشيتا كيرين أبا عندي تو كيم كي باشترى so effective communication يعني reduce anxiety self reported pain تشان pain هي length of stay after surgery يعني كبين وقت تشان تدي تشوا كنترول كي هيك نالين تجلك بيشي ولينك دي تشان ميتت عمليات ده وتشوا اختراض بيبقى هندي تبو شرح كي بيجني effective communication مين يلقى طبعا will prepare you for the stressful event هنديك communication قال كي بتسوي نعم عمليه هي دي كي يا زرابي نزاي زراب تشان نزاي كيري نزاي دي تشان عمليه كيري تشوا وقت تشان مين تشان تشوا حمي details وبزانيتن with the details if they need peer contact sometimes pairing pre-op patient with post-op patient أبد pre-op بري كاري هذا post-op قال وبرينا خارج وبالعوب بيجن نجوا patient قال مش يكري ولا ما المتواتع وكرها مواجهة دكتوري so peer contact ده لك مهمة so effective communication peer contact and be responsive to individual preferences يعني كاوي تشدفي preferences مثلا detail set operation نبين تبو خرنا بيجا ويتشدفين بو بيجا ديفوي and lastly consider special cases مثلا children أبا مثلا Great Ormond Street Hospital مثلا أبا هاتي تباري كوا أنا الهيفي دفمان the picture of the yet cartoons in the place يعني اهتمام بهذا فالفيري بيجنا prepare your patient for stressful event for example surgery مثلا أبا ديشكي effective communication peer contact pre-op individual prevalence و consider special cases مثلا children بالمجرتي أنا إيكي مثلا handicap جهتوا مثلا unable to walk difficult to walk مثلا مصعدها بنوت available ways to aid coping يا تشاري بو patient ماذا بيجني فأبانو patient ما بني أو social support بو personal control زي ذاكي prepare for the stressful event مكان surgery to stress management technique عشان عند جابيجي مثلا cognitive أخرى to the درباز بي to the شيء من عطا باشا تهز هاي to شيء عملية كيف حصته behavioral مثلا وكما بالي مكبوتي عندنا behavioral skill training, emotional, باغ social support, behavioral exercise بكتن, physical exercise بكتن. فهنا كجواد ديني بيجي experiencing exercise خذ يدك patient ما relaxation technique مثل ما هي deep breathing دفنرا ما هي yoga deep breathing muscle relaxation technique meditation نشاب ده جوا تكنيكا emotional يعني بشيء كتن شكل نيوازع بيت بسيارك باغ social support بينا ف behavioral technique sleep cognitive وعندنا جو احتمال non cognitive medication تبدأ. So these are the 4 ways to help to aid to cope for your patient. So the last part is the emotional response to chronic illness. So like a chronic illness maybe any patient has chronic illness, of course they will develop emotional response. How to deal with this emotional response to the clinic? This will be discussed the last part after 5-minute rest. So take a rest for 5 minutes and join us for anyone who is interested. Okay, thank you.